single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Hey there, Cerise here. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to Story Time from Sosua Shores. Guys, this story was brought to me from a woman who lives in Haiti. She used to live in the Dominican Republic. And I got to tell you right off the hop, it's a nasty story. It is not healthy. And if you have a weak belly, then I would say plug your ears at certain points. It's just disturbing what this woman did. However, we're going to name her Bonnie because you guys know I leave all the names and photos and everything confidential. Bonnie wants to get it off her chest. She knows what she did was not right, and she knows that she should not have done it at all. She's back in Haiti right now because she fled the country. She left the Dominican Republic after being here for 10 years. She got scared and took off. Alrighty, so let's get to the backdrop. She was young when she came here, about 21, and when she got here, she heard that all the way from Haiti, that Pedro Clasante here in Sosua, it's legal for working girls. So she thought, you know what? It's her body. She can do what she wants with it. And she came here illegally to the country. She snuck across the border. She got across successfully, and she started to become a working girl. She said that her whole entire journey coming here from like getting over the border and then getting to Santo Domingo and then everything getting here to Sosua was a journey and a half. So once she got to Sosua, she had no plans to leave. She just wanted to stay here and make a dollar. So that's what she started to do. She started to meet up with other Haitian women, and they taught her the ropes, and all of them started to live together, and they shared the rent. And then eventually she met a foreigner. This foreigner was from Italy. Now, the foreigner was an expat here. So he was someone who came here to live for the rest of his life. He had a wife, and the wife knew about Bonnie, but the wife didn't care less. The wife obviously had other things she was doing here, right? So, which is very common. And so now Bonnie really liked the foreigner. She really started to fall in love with the foreigner. The foreigner was taking very good care of her. She was able to leave her friends and move out of the barrio that she was in. She was living with a couple of friends, and it was in a 2-bedroom apartment. That's all they could afford. And 2 of them were in one room and 2 of them were in another room. And there was no running water. They had to bathe from the, I'll just say where it was because she doesn't live here any longer. La Piedra. La Piedra is here in Los Cheramicos. Now, she would bathe in La Piedra. She would use the water and everything like that. And so, she had no running water. And so this foreigner, when she met him, he took her out. He went and he visited her in La Piedra, located in Los Cheramicos, and he saw her place, and he was like, oh, no, you can't stay here. At this point, she felt like he loved her as well. She was really falling for him, and she felt like she felt like he was saving her, really. And so he said, no, you can't live here, this is not good for you, I'm sorry, no. And he moved her into an apartment in El Bate, where there's a lot of expats and tourists. Now, he knew that she was a working girl, and he knew he wasn't her only customer, her only client. But he didn't mind because he had his wife. Now, when he moved her into El Bate, he paid for her apartment for $200 a month, 10,000 pesos, roughly. And he bought her a lot of furniture, and he made sure she was snuggled in there nicely, very, very comfortably. He paid for everything. She only had to pay for her own food. But remember, she was a working girl, so she was making her own money, and food wasn't very expensive. So she was good. Well, he started to spend more and more time with her. He got to the point where he was sleeping at her apartment now. And she was like, well, why don't you just leave your wife and stay with me? And he said he can't. He couldn't. He just couldn't leave his wife. It's not that he was attracted to his wife any longer. He wasn't at all. The wife was older than him when they got married. And so now the wife was just, she wasn't even interested in him any longer. But the wife knew he wasn't going to leave her. And so he refused. He said to Bonnie, no, Bonnie, I'm not going to leave my wife, but I can still love you and we can still spend time together. And I can spend a couple of nights here out of the week, but it is what it is. And my reality is I'm married to my wife. And that's it. And so Bonnie had to accept that. One night he got drunk. And him and Bonnie were making love, and he said to Bonnie, I want a baby with you. I want a baby with you. I want to stay with you. I want to live with you. I want to have a future with you, and everything. And she was like, okay, let's do it. And he said, no, I can't. He said, I'm just telling you what I want with you, things that I think about, but it's impossible for it to happen. So when he planted that little worm into her brain, she decided to go above and beyond, and she went to a botanical place here. Now, some of you who have visited here in Sosua and around, you will notice certain stores that say botanical. Now, I don't know if all of them are this way, but some of them, you go in there and you get a little potion, and it's for sometimes to make your health better, sometimes to, like a spell, so to speak. I don't believe in spells, to be honest with you. I believe in the power of God, and I don't believe that God would ever give any human being the dominion to have power over someone else's mind or body or whatever. Okay? God is the most powerful, almighty energy in this universe. So when I say spell, I say it very lightly. So that's what she did. She went into the botanical store and she tried to get a spell to make Dave fall in love with her more and make Dave want to stay with her forever and leave his wife. When she was in the botanical store, they washed her in a tub that was in the back. Like, she had to stand in some type of tub. She had to get undressed, totally naked, and they washed her. First of all, they washed her off with some kind of salt water. Then what they did was they started to paint pig blood all on her. The pig blood she had to keep on her for 5 minutes. After that, they washed off the pig blood with alcohol, rubbing alcohol. After the rubbing alcohol, they creamed down her skin, like they greased her skin, creamed it with natural cocoa. And that was it. They told her that she now is cleansed, and what she needs to do, now this is where you need to plug your ears if your stomach is really light. Trust me, you want to plug your ears. What they told her she needs to do is, I'm so sorry. When she gets her period, oh gosh, I can't even imagine this. When she gets her period, she has to take out the blood clots. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I tried to do this story already a couple of times, and every time I get to this point, I feel like I'm going to vomit. And I'm a woman. I get that. So she has to reach inside, with the first day of her period, and when she gets a blood clot, and if it falls out into the toilet, she has to pick it up. And she has to get that blood clot and put it in his food when she cooks for him. Can you imagine? I think I just vomited a little bit in my mouth. Yeah, can you imagine? She has to put the blood clot in his food, but she has to fry it up with meat. She can't put it in like rice or in anything. It has to be in the sauce. It had to be in the gravy. It cooked with the meat. Ugh. Oh, I'm telling you, I'm so sorry. I don't have a weak belly, but that is evil and it is disturbing. Okay. And she knows it now. She knows it. I even said to her on the phone, I'm like, girl, that is disturbing. I'm sorry. I don't even know how to tell this story. And now let me just get to the heat of the rest of it. So she did it. She listened. And when she got her period, she said that she used a pad and she made sure that she got every single like clot. And I don't even want to swallow because when I swallow, I feel like I'm like, ugh. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Let me just get to the story. So she ended up, doing all that. She did her first period. And then after her first period, what she did was she noticed that it didn't make a change on him. So she went back to the botanic. Like he started to sleep more and more at his wife's, at his own house. He wasn't changing at all. And he didn't even notice. I asked her, I said, did he notice a different slight taste in the food? No, not at all. She said she seasoned it up differently. And she made sure she cooked it with like liver, like things that have already have like a gamey taste to it, or like a iron taste to it, she said. So in any case, she said that didn't work, and she went, after her period was done and everything, she went back to the botanical, and the woman said to her, listen, you have to do it for at least 3 months, like for 3 months, and make sure that when you do it and you're cooking, you envision what you want. And the woman said, did you envision what you wanted like the last time? And Bonnie said, no, I just did it. I didn't know I had to envision. She said, you have to envision what you want. If you want to manifest it, you have to bring it forth as you're cooking the food for him. So Bonnie was like, okay, well, she would think, and that's another thing. I believe in manifestation, but I don't think you need to go through all that just to get it. You just sit down and do it with the power of the mind and with the investment that you get from the universe. In any case, she waited for her second period, and when her period came a month later, she did it again. But this time, she went way overboard. She was like, it's just so gross. She was, she used tampons for the next one. She said the tampons were much easier. And what she would do is let the tampon get full, and she would squeeze it out. So she would still get her clots and put that into the food, but she was now squeezing it out of the tampon. She started to get really desperate. She said she was doing it for the first 3 days of her period. Her period is very strong the first 3 days, and she was just squeezing out those tampons. She said the reason why she started to squeeze out the tampons because she gets clots only the first day. The second day she has a strong period, but there's no clots. The third day as well. But she said it's a heavy period she gets, and she was just squeezing out those tampons into his food. And he still was not staying at her house. He would go to her house for dinner, but he wasn't sleeping at her place any longer. So that was the second period. 2 weeks after the second period, he got sick. And he said that, he can't go to her house. But he didn't know what he was sick with. And so he stayed home at his house, and he told Bonnie that he can't go to her place because he's feeling really sick, and he has weak belly, and he keeps vomiting, and he has a lot of diarrhea. Now, she went to the botanical place and told the botanical place what was going on, and the botanical place said to her, yes, this is the beginning, it's starting to work. And Bonnie said to the woman, well, I don't want him at his wife's place when he's sick, I want him at my place. And the woman said, okay, well, don't worry, that comes in time. He will eventually be in your place. Bonnie said, all right. So now the guy's better after 2 weeks. And Bonnie just is about ready to get her period. So Bonnie gets her period and she goes in at him again. He's visiting her. And when she did it again, this time he noticed something different. He said to her, because he wasn't eating at her place and he was feeling a lot stronger and a lot better. Now, I don't know the medical, what that could do to someone medically, so I don't know if it was even connected to his health going bad for a minute, what she was doing. But, I mean, anything is possible. So he noticed that his belly was getting weak, and he said to her, he's like, what seasonings do you put in your food? And she was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, my wife, he goes, when I was eating her food for the 2 weeks that I was sick, it was easy on my belly. But this is just like kind of harsh on my belly. And she did use different seasonings that day. And she said, okay, I won't use those seasonings any longer. I use different ones today. And he was like, oh, okay, it's different than what you used before. And she said, yes. And that was true. She did use a little different seasonings that she had gotten from her neighbor. So now, fast forward, and he's all right. His body's okay. She's still in the third period. She's still, squeezing and the tampons in and everything. And nothing became like fruitful. He still was sleeping more and more at his house and less at her house. And she said to him, how come you're not sleeping at my house much? And he said, my wife wants me home. She's worried about me. When I got sick, she really showed me a lot of love, and it showed me that, she really does love me, and I need to be respectful of my wife. And Bonnie was like, what do you mean by that? And he said, well, we've been married for 40 years. I'm an older man now. My wife is an older woman too. And pretty soon she's going to pass on in the next 10 years maybe. And I want to make sure that I take care of her. I want to make sure that I do for her what she has done for me all my life. That made Bonnie extremely jealous. And so she went back to the botanical woman, and the woman said, okay, the blood didn't work. All right, what you have to do is mix the blood from you with blood from a cow, and then also spit in it. What is all that going to do? That's going to kill someone. I said, Bonnie, how could you even fall for that? Like, that's just nasty. That's not love. That's not love. I told her, you don't do that to someone that you love. That's just nasty. Anyway, she said at this point she was vulnerable. I'm not judging her. I'm not, because I hear a lot of stories, and being a soul coach, I have heard a lot of stories throughout my lifetime. However, this was just endangering someone else, So then she did it. She went and she got some cow's blood. I don't even know where she got that. I guess she must have purchased it from the people there at the botanical place. I have no clue. And then on her next period, that's what she did. She mixed it and with the blood and also spit in it. And that's just gross. Anyway, she did it, and she cooked for him, and she put it inside spaghetti sauce, and she cooked spaghetti for him. Well, that night, he got so sick. He even said to her when he ate the food, he's like, what is in this? This is horrible. This doesn't taste like your cooking, because she's a very good cook, Bonnie is. Bonnie is a wonderful cook, she said. I've never tasted her food, and I never will. I'll tell you that much straight up out the gate. But she does have plans to come to the Dominican Republic again and open a restaurant. Ugh. I'll make sure I keep you all informed of where not to go. Oh my goodness. So anyway, sorry, Bonnie, but come on now, come on. And so he said to her, what is this? This is gross. What is this food? At this point, it was called desperation. She was desperate for him to stay with her. She was desperate for him to let go of his wife, and she was desperate to keep him for her future. And he ate it. Right away, he started to vomit. He was like, oh, I can't eat this. I can't eat any more of it. Like, and he went into the bathroom and he vomited. I think he probably put his finger down his throat. But he vomited, and he said to her, he was sweating and sweating. And he's like, I think I got some type of a bug or something. And so he told her he was going to go home. And she was like, no, 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 please stay here. I'll take care of you. I have some remedies from Haiti that I know to take care of you, and you'll be fine. Please stay with me tonight, Dave. I'm worried about you. And Dave was like, no, 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 no. I got to be home. I feel much more comfortable in my own house when I'm sick. I got to go. And he dashed out. She said when he walked to his car, he was like pretty much in tears. He was just in so much pain. And he took off. She didn't see him or hear from him for 3 days. And apparently she contacted him, and he just wasn't returning her phone calls. He wasn't doing anything. And on the 3rd day, she went on the beach, and she went to his favorite bar to see if he was there. And he was. And she asked him, she's like, Dave, like, how come you're not talking to me? How come you're not answering my calls? And he said, oh, I think we just need to take a break for a while. I think for now we need to just be single, of each other. You need to find yourself someone else. I'm an old man and I need to take care of my wife. And well, Bonnie could sense that her spells were not working at all. So she said to him, she's like, oh, please, Dave, don't do this. Don't do this. And she started to beg him, don't do this, don't do this. And she started to get loud. She started to grab him by his arm, and she was like, come talk to me, please, come here. The music was really loud where she was. So it was like on the beach in one of those restaurants. And he refused. And he said, no, 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 I'm going to stay right here. My wife is over there. I don't want to make her angry. And Bonnie was like, your wife doesn't even care about you. And he's like, yeah, since I've been getting sick, my wife has really been caring about me. She's been really showing me a lot of love, and I don't want to let her down. And Bonnie was like, oh, well, can you please call me later? Can you please return my phone call? And he was like, okay, I'll talk to you later, but probably not today. I'm really busy. I got to help my wife around the house. And, everything was his wife now. So you see, the spell thing backfired on her, because instead of her getting more of his time, she was getting less of his love. And this was something she was not happy with. So she went back to the botanical store, and they said to her, sometimes this happens. Sometimes you have to up it a little bit. So, yeah. She, and no more blood. Because, it's tainting him, is what the botanical woman said. The botanical woman said that the blood was making him sick. And I don't know. I mean, I didn't even Google it. I just did not want to even learn any more about it, and what blood could do. But I do know when a woman is on her period, that's old blood that she's releasing. Like, that's not good. Also, I know religiously when people are eating meat, they will drain out the blood to make it halal, to make it more blessed. And they don't eat the meat. I don't know. There's a lot of people that eat blood pudding though, right? So, and I think it's made with blood. I don't know. I've never tried all that stuff. But anyway, you might want to Google it. So they told her that she'll have to do something else, and she will have to start using other things now. The other things were like the old-fashioned witch stuff, like frogs and like all that stuff. So she started to do spells in her house. He was not there, and he wouldn't visit her. He wouldn't return her phone calls. She went to the beach again to see him. He was at his favorite bar. She got removed from there because she was screaming and hollering and putting up a fight. And he was like, listen, Bonnie, I'm married. Like, I'm sorry if you thought we were going to be together forever, but I had fun with you and it's over now. And he was still paying her rent. He still respected her that way. And he was still paying her rent, and he was still taking care of her financially in that way. He knew that she needed that extra help, but he just was not trying to get with her. And she could tell at this point that it was coming to an end, romantically speaking. And he said to her, he's like, listen, I know that you need my help. I'm still going to help you. Don't worry about it. And she's like, it's not only the help that I want from you, I want your love. And he's like, yeah, but I don't love you, and I never will. I'm married. You were fun, and that's it. I'm not interested in being in a relationship with you. I love my wife. And he was being honest with her. She just couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle it, and that's what made her scream and holler and freak out, and that's what got her kicked out of the restaurant. So now he said, he told her, he's like, Bonnie, he contacted her one day and he's like, Bonnie, I'm going to come to your place. Can we please talk? And he wanted to appeal to her in a really special way and tell her that, he really cares for her and he thinks that she's a great woman, but, he's an older man and he's not looking to restart his life. And when he did, she said, like, he showed up at her house and they were talking at her apartment, and they were talking, and she said, well, why did you tell me you wanted a baby with me? And he said, when did I say that? And she said, when you were at my house. And he said, I never said that to you. And she said, yes, you did, when you were drinking. And he said, oh, I was drunk. I didn't mean that. And he's like, it would just be like a dream. Like, I would love to be with you and have children with you type of thing. When you're drinking and you're drunk, you don't really feel it, but you just say it because the sex is really good at that time. And she was like, what? You didn't really love me? He's like, well, yeah, well, we were having sex, but, he said, that's normal. And she said she got so angry that she just wanted to hurt him. She wanted to do something really bad to him, and she couldn't figure out what she could do. So she decided that she was going to think on it. And finally, she came up with something. And what she came up with was just nasty again. Okay. So she decided that she was going to set Dave up. Dave likes the Haitian women. And so what did she do? She got a beautiful young Haitian girl to meet up with Dave. Dave was at his best bar, his favorite bar, and this Haitian woman sat down beside him. Dave looked at her, and that was it. He was on her like a fly on poop. And he was like, I really like you. You're beautiful. Are you a working girl? And she said, yes. And he said, he's like, wow, okay, well, how much are you? And, so they ended up leaving from the restaurant at that time. That made Bonnie even angrier because she realized that he was still, paying for working girls, and he still had an appetite outside of his wife. But why was he not interested in Bonnie any longer? He must have sensed something. So in any case, he went with that girl to the apartment, that the hotel. And when they got to a hotel, he paid for it and everything. They went into the room, and the girl said, hold on 1 minute. And she called for Bonnie. And she called Bonnie on her cell phone, and she's like, my friend wants to come. And he said, oh, okay. She's like, yeah, can you just hold on a minute? She's going to come. She's not going to come and join. She's only going to come, and I have to give her the keys to my apartment, blah, 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 all this stuff she was telling him. And he was like, okay, well, just hurry it up. And so the girl went to the door, opened the door, and Bonnie walked in. When Bonnie walked in, he looked at Bonnie and he knew it was a setup right away, because he's like, Bonnie, what are you doing? Why would you do this? And Bonnie said, I just need your time. I just need to talk to you. And he said, Bonnie, I can't do this with you. I have a wife. Like, I'm not into the relationships. He told her, for just, for fun and romance, okay, it's fine, but not for a long-term relationship. He must have sensed that she was falling in love and getting really like close or connected or obsessed, right? And so she said to him, well, why didn't you tell me that before? You kept making promises. And he said, Bonnie, I never made you one promise, not one promise. And she said, yes, you promised that you were going to be with me. And he said, no, no, no. During sex, I told you, during sex, people say that all the time. She said she just wanted to throw him off the balcony. She was so angry at him because she couldn't get through to him. She could tell at that point he did not want her. He was just like, you're done. I'm done with you. I used you all up. I got you. I'm tired of you. He wanted to move on to some different candy. And the girl, the other Haitian girl, she realized what was going on, and she hightailed it out of there. She just left. She didn't even want to have anything to do with it. She could tell that Bonnie was getting angry and yelling and hollering, and the other working girl was like, yeah, I'm out of here. And she took off. Well, when she took off, she called the front desk. She told the front desk that the guy may be in trouble. I guess that other girl knew Bonnie well and knew Bonnie was a little loose in the head. But the girl went to the front desk and she told that the guy upstairs may need help. When they got upstairs, Bonnie had him on the ground. I don't know how she got him on the ground, but her adrenaline must have been pumping. She said to me, Cerise, I just grabbed him by the neck. She said she lunged at him, grabbed him by the neck, and he fell back onto the ground, and she just started to squeeze his neck so hard that she could feel like his larynx, like that she said his Adam's apple. She could feel it like busting in her hands. Like she just wanted to crush it. She couldn't stop herself, she said. And when the hotel staff got up there, they started to yell and scream, and they were saying, call policia, like call the police. And she said at that moment, she jumped up and she ran. When she jumped up and ran, he was already blue in the face. He was already pretty much out. And she doesn't know if he lived or died. That's what she says. She doesn't know what went on. But she heard that he's alive. She fled right after that. She fled the country. She just left, and she hasn't been back. And now she doesn't know when she'll get back here. But she said that's what she did. She came here and she did that. She didn't even use her real name the whole time she was in this country. And when she got back to Haiti, it was easy. And she said all she had to do was just go over the border, and that was it. So guys, yeah, a different world it is. A different world when it comes to all those spells and voodoo and obia, taboo, all that craziness. This woman believed in it. Now, as she's in Haiti and living a very, kind of very desperate lifestyle, I asked her, I said, why don't you get a spell? And I know this was feisty. I know this was pissy to say, but I said to her, I said, well, you're in Haiti now. Why don't you go get some, voodoo obia or some type of spell for yourself, like to come back here, like, or to travel somewhere else, or to get a man, make a spell for that man to come to you, for Dave to find you in Haiti. Do your spells work now? And she was like, no. She's like, you're right. There's no such thing that can make someone fall in love with you. And, she said that she's seen before in her country and also here where the man does leave his wife, and he does leave the wife for the woman. And it's usually, her friend did it before. She said to me, that her aunt did it before. Different spells, not all, no, not necessarily blood. I don't know. She didn't tell me what those spells were, but she said that her aunt put a spell on a man, and he stayed with her, and left his wife. So I think that was just natural. Like the spell didn't work, but they believe more in the spell than they do themselves and their ability to attract a man and make him love her for the rest of their life. So she said it worked for other people, and it obviously didn't. But at the end of the day, why force someone to love you? Why try to put a spell on someone to be with you? Let them go. Let them go. If they love you, they will be with you. And if they cannot be with you, the good Lord will make it possible for something to happen. You will be loved as long as you love right. You can't be going around putting spells on people, poisoning people. I consider that poison. She could have killed that man, what she was feeding him, especially the spaghetti, especially like doing spells with like all kinds of, like she took frog guts, she took frog legs, she took everything. She made a spell, and she also boiled it on her stove. There was something she was supposed to like intestines, from like, it's called mondongo here. A lot of people eat it, and it's very good. They're intestines. They call it tripe in Nova Scotia, Canada, and everything, right? But what she had to do with that was keep the poo inside of it and boil that up. Not clean it out, not clean the intestine out, but keep the poo inside of it and boil it up. Imagine how that must have stunk in the house. Ew. So, the moral of the story is, I don't think she's going to be getting back here, because I think karma is stronger than her spell. And if she does get back here, she's probably going to be a lot older. She won't be able to be a working girl. She'll probably be struggling, and it probably suit her better to stay in her own country. But it's not for me to say. All I'm saying is, listen, take it easy on the men, ladies. Take it easy on the men. Don't be doing all that voodoo, obia, and all that crazy stuff and poisoning people out there just so you can get what you want to get. Come on now. That's not love. That's nasty. That's disturbing. That is evil. And when you take blood out of your body that is supposed to come out and you ingest it into someone else's body, God does not like that. No, that's called ugly. God does not like that. Okay, so please stop yourself right now. If you are Haitian or you are around the world and you are doing something, because it doesn't only happen in Haiti. I've heard a few things in Jamaica. There's a huge Jamaican culture in Canada, and I've heard some stuff. People doing baths and some stuff, you know what I mean? All that stuff, and they put more faith in human beings and spells and voodoo and obia than they do in God, the creator of this universe. Come on. Anyway, this is not about religion. This is not about spirituality. This is about common sense and respect for your fellow man. So don't do something to someone else that you wouldn't want done to yourself. Imagine somebody putting blood from their body into your food. That's just disgusting. In any case, I wanted to share that story with you guys because please be careful. Be careful out there. There's some crazy women doing some crazy things to keep you. Now, whether it's for your money, whether it's for your love, or whether it's for your resources, it is going to happen if you are not careful. So please watch yourself, gentlemen, and you ladies, ease up. Don't be nasty. Don't be evil. Love yourself. Anyway, I guess that's my spiel for the day, and that is story time from Sosua Shores. If you have a story, please send it to me via WhatsApp with your voice note at 829-702-7726. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Thank you so much for subscribing. And make sure when you subscribe, you hit that bell. that notification button, and you will be notified every single time I upload a new video. Big blessings to you and big health.
Every single day